Hello everyone, welcome to my second video and thanks for everyone who watched and subscribed after the first video. That was an excellent response. This week I'm going to be creating a photo for a little challenge that I participate in each week. It's 52 frames. You can go to the website 52frames.com. Each week there's a new brief and you complete the brief, upload your photo. Other users can comment and give you a critique. So this week the brief is hands, so anything to do with hands. I'm going to take a picture of my own hands and I'm using my D7500 camera. I've got a light here. I acquired it second hand years ago. Did have two, but took it out of the box earlier and one of the bulbs had gone. So we're making do with what we've got. We're going to be using one light. What I want to do is maybe go black and white, get something a bit high contrast. So one light will work for that from the side, and hopefully get some good contrast and get the wrinkles on my hands and things to really stand out. So like I said, I'm using my Nikon D7500 camera. I've got a 50mm 1.4 lens which is really sharp. I've got my tripod, and the other thing to mention is that because I'm using this camera, I'm not recording the video on this camera, so I'm using my mobile phone. If the quality is not quite as good as it was last week, sorry for that, but when I get a bit richer I'll be getting a new camera. Okay, so let's see how it goes. So I'm using an aperture of 7.1, that'll give me quite a large depth of field, and that's important because I'm using manual focus and I'm moving and I'm not behind the camera. What I want to do is give myself as much depth of field as possible so that my hands are going to be in focus if they're slightly out, back and forwards. So, here we go then. Okay, so I've got this torch now. It's not as powerful as the light obviously, so it's just going to add a little bit of light just to kind of fill it out on this side a bit. Playing around with that at different angles, maybe from above. Might turn this back off now. That's looking interesting now. Okay, I'm using an f-stop of 5.6 now. A ISO of 500. I'm in manual mode. My shutter speed is 100, I think. I've got my torch and I'm going to experiment with that, see how this goes. That's looking good. Okay, so I've got my lighting how I want it. It's looking good. Now I just want to inject a little bit of creativity. Since we're in lockdown, with coronavirus going around, I'm going to try using a rubber glove, see what that looks like. Okay, so that was a lot of good fun. In the end, I didn't use my 50mm, I used my 17 to 55mm 2.8. The reason for that is because I was having problems with the autofocus or lack of autofocus on the 50mm. In theory, it should autofocus on a D7500 body, and it does to an extent. However, it's a little bit fussy. You have to have it in the right focus mode and it's a bit slow sometimes. So yeah, I used the 17 to 55. That let me use autofocus and then I could just put my hand in the scene, press the autofocus button. It was a lot easier. And in the end I was fairly pleased with some of the images. I liked the ones with the rubber glove best. I think that just had a lot more interest. The wrinkles in the glove itself and the kind of see-through, the semi-see-through texture to it. And so this was the three images that I narrowed it down to in the end. The first one on the left, I really like this image, but it wasn't quite what I had in mind at the start. I think the clenched fist, it's a bit too kind of powerful, and I wanted something, I wanted the hand more open and reaching out. So the second one in the middle is much more what I had in mind. I really like the kind of the form of the hand and how it's held out. But ultimately, I went for the third image on the right because of the lighting mainly. I found that while I was creating the photo, when I was using the really warm spotlight juxtaposed against the cool light of the torch, the cool blue light, I found it created a really atmospheric feeling. And I really liked that, so I was kind of working to emphasize that, and I wanted the warm glow to be on the inside of the hand and then the cool blue light on the outside. So that's and I think I've managed that quite well in the last image there, and I really like that. So you can see here, this is the kind of the final image. I rotated it. I wanted the hand to be reaching downwards towards the warm light. And this is the image as it came out of the camera, the raw file. And now you see here, this is what I've done in Lightroom. So I've just pulled out the highlights a bit and the whites. I've dropped back the blacks for the background. Added a little bit of contrast, some clarity. I think I reduced the texture a little bit. And the main thing I've done is just kind of increase the luminosity and the saturation of the blue and the orange. And the orange as well, I think I changed the hue a little bit to make it a bit more pinky red. So yeah, I'm really happy with the final image. And I think it just shows what you can do when you're improvising. I haven't got all the professional lights and things, and I certainly haven't got the professional experience, but just by improvising with a simple spotlight and a torch, I was able to create something I was really happy with in the end. And that's what it's all about, really, just having fun and getting a good result. So thanks once again for watching. It's really great that people are watching these. If it's your first time watching my channel, please like and subscribe. And I will be putting another one out next week, so please tune in again for that. Bye for now.